Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are unfortunately going to be talking about how the cryptocurrency sector is melting right now. Many of the names that we're going to be discussing today fell off an absolute cliff earlier, and unfortunately, Bitcoin is nosediving as we speak. You hate to see it, you guys. Days like today suck. Times like these suck. Corrections suck. But as I always say, corrections are a healthy part of every bull market. I remain optimistic on the medium to long term for sure. I do think this is just temporary, but that said, it's still a bummer, and I want to talk to you guys about my price targets to both the downside and upside, the bull case and the bear case. You guys know I'm optimistic. Sometimes that optimism can be and has proved lately to be very detrimental. So you guys, please take everything I say with a grain of salt. The main thing is, as a trader, when you're wrong, you adapt to your times, you get better, and that's what this game is all about, all right? So that said, let's get into it. As always, we'll quickly go over each topic we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, you guys know the drill, TradingView, where we'll talk price action, price targets, and TA on the following name state in this order going down the watch list. Of course, kick it off with ZKIN, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, you guys, those are some evil red candles right there, especially on the 4 hour. You go to the 1 hour, it looks equally as bad. But we will be focusing on the 4 hour candles today. I do want to focus more on the short to medium term. And again, talk to you guys about a few of the scenarios. So the bull case and the bear case. The bull case is still a little, is not super bullish, but the most bullish case I can think of happening right now after this insane sell-off today. And the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario is actually significantly worse than we're at now. I actually was calling for this scenario a few weeks back, and it sucks, you guys. Maybe even if I got like the fundamental argument correct, that doesn't matter. It doesn't feel good because I was still wrong on the timing. And all that matters in the markets is that you time things correctly. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It matters if you time them correctly, okay? So that said, I will talk to you guys about both scenarios. I see it playing out for Bitcoin. And of course, that will ultimately impact, very, very likely, that will ultimately impact the price action of many of the stocks below, primarily these two, which are our Bitcoin miners, the beautiful Bitcoin miners that have been getting ravaged over the past month. Marathon Digital Holdings, or Mara, and Riot starting to play catch up pretty nicely. But yeah, Mara and Riot Bitcoin miners. Move on to the splash of green we saw in the market today. ZKIN. ZKIN actually did release some amazing news regarding kind of a platform where they want to get into the gaming kind of esports section. They're doing a really good job with marketing stuff. So that's why we saw ZKIN in the green today. ZKIN looking promising. And I mean, the fact that it's green at all, I'll take that. At least it's a splash of green. I'm glad actually that Bitcoin's literally 12 minutes ago, before I started recording this, or 12 minutes ago, Bitcoin did recycle. So at least we get some green in there just to stay a little more optimistic, you know. So ZKIN, other Chinese blockchain play, Junlei or XNET. XNET got smoked today. I'm so like, you guys, I thought I had like the argument set for XNET. I thought it was looking good. But again, that's why I take everything I say with a grain of salt, because as you guys know, lately, I can and have been wrong, okay? So XNET was looking so good. Unfortunately, we were breaking down. But actually on the charts, XNET, definitely as opposed to Riot and Mara, because many of these charts, you're going to see just a series of higher highs and higher lows. That's pretty much what the cryptocurrency market is right now, just a whole bunch of higher highs and higher lows. They all look very similar, but we'll still quickly take a look at all of them regardless. XNET does have a little bit more light at the end of the tunnel than plays like Riot and Mara personally. And I still do hold faith because honestly, my portfolio relies on it. So next up, the good old OTC plays, the space plays that are CurrencyWorks and ALYI. Both of these got pretty ravaged today. CWRK has just been taking a beating all day. ALYI is such a volatile stock, and again, such a small market cap. I hope you guys enjoyed that video I made yesterday. Please let me know if you did down below. Obviously, let me know in the video as well. But I felt really good about that video. I'm very happy I made it. Once again, thank you to all of you who contributed to that as well. But we will cover ALYI, sadly, because it is kind of a crypto play. I mean, the entire market, you guys, risk on assets, which I will read over this in a little bit. Risk on assets, so EVs, pretty much like cannabis, literally everything that's like not legacy plays for the most part, got pretty lit up. So like the ARK investment fund got smoked today. But that said, I'm still bullish, you guys. It sucks. Again, corrections suck, but there's still so much capital out there. All this stimmy money, these $1,400 checks, which have yet to be fully released, which is bullish in itself. It's not just evaporated. It has not just evaporated. It's still out there. There's still capital that needs to be put to work, and that's the primary thing. The dollar is looking strong right now, but I don't think that can last long just because, again, there's just so much capital being injected into the economy that it it just doesn't fundamentally make sense. It obviously could happen, but it just doesn't make sense to me personally. All right. So that said, that is all the names that we're going to be covering. We'll quickly take a look at this, which is the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. I'm sure most of you have heard about this, but this actually, the Fear and Greed Index was, I believe, developed by CNN, and it uses 7 different factors to calculate overall fear or greed within the market. So greed, if it's all the way in green, 100 is going to be extreme greed, and a 0 is going to be extreme fear. Right now, we're around 65. So that's pretty impressive when you think about last month, we were at 94, which is pretty much peak greed levels. Last week, still was 71, so significant drop off. Today, 70, 66, 65. So we're definitely trending more towards the middle. And again, because there is still so much capital just floating around in the ether, it makes me think that we won't I think people are pretty darn scared right now, especially after today. It makes sense that we're not a little lower, but I don't think that we're going to go to extreme fear. That just doesn't make sense. Again, the climate is just completely different. There's still so much dollars floating around that everything that's not the dollar will ultimately appreciate over time because inflation is still very real. But again, we have come down significantly from where we were last month, which is promising. The lower we are, the more in the middle we are, the more comfortable I am saying that we will probably head back up sooner than later once again. All right, but before we do dive into the charts, I do want to read you guys the intro to the newsletter I wrote this morning, just because it gives you guys kind of the base layer of my thoughts as we're going through the trading day and just seeing some carnage in the markets. All right, so it's a bloody Wednesday. The crypto stock sector continues to pull back. Therefore, I continue to get smoked. Trust me, guys, I'm losing an ungodly amount of money right now, and it hurts. But at least you guys are here with me. At least we have a good community, right? That's what it's all about. It definitely still stings though. It's not only the crypto stocks though. It seems like most high risk sectors of the market are seeing some pain today. Airlines and more legacy plays are seeing some love with the appreciation of the US dollar. So that tells me that the market is definitely in defense mode at the moment. When the Dow Jones is winning, investors are cautious. So again, the Dow, the most legacy of the equity indices is the Nasdaq Dow Russell 2000. The Dow Jones is going to be the one with like the airlines, the banks, the legacy plays again. And when that does well, it usually means the US dollar is doing well. And the US dollar is doing well today as well. We're not going to look at that on the charts, but the US dollar looks like it's going to be doing pretty well for the next few days to a week or so. But again, it is still an overall downtrend. I still believe because we're printing literally trillions of dollars and we continue to print, we'll probably print more, to be honest. The dollar, it just does not make sense that the dollar will they're not just disappearing. There's no, like, the dollar's physical, like energy. It cannot be created nor destroyed. But dollars can be created, but they cannot be destroyed, okay? So they still have to float around. There's still dollars in the ether waiting to buy up assets, okay? I could have played this so much better in retrospect, and I apologize. It's important, and this goes for not only the newsletter, but to the YouTube audience as well. I could have played this so much better in retrospect, and I apologize for being almost too optimistic. I should have held my puts. I should have recognized that these things were slowing. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Sucks, but that's the game sometimes. I thought my rationale was sound, but apparently it wasn't sound enough. You win some, you lose some. It sucks, but the main thing is to stay positive and definitely don't give up. You only lose when you quit, and quitting is for losers. So you guys, no one wants to be a loser, so don't be a loser and don't quit. Again, trust me, you guys, I've lost a sickening amount of money lately, but you don't quit. I've been here before. It sucks that I should learn better. And again, you guys, this is all a learning experience. I'm doing my best to learn, and again, just don't give up, because you only lose when you give up. So keep learning. It's all a learning experience. It feels like failure, trust me, but you cannot view it as a failure. That is unrational. It's irrational to view your failures as a failure. You have to view it as learning experience, and that's what's ultimately important for the long run. So you live and you learn. It's a good thing that trading and investing is a game we can play as long as our minds are functional. And with some of these up and coming biotech projects, that could potentially be a very long time. So again, you guys, I always say this. I haven't said it recently, and I haven't had to make one of these recently, thankfully, I guess. But it's important to realize that, again, if you fail, this is a game we can play forever. This is a game you play for life, all right? And the more you do anything, as with anything else in life, the more you do, the better you get. Practice will never make perfect, especially in a game as volatile and ever-changing as the markets. As you learn, though, the odds will continue to skew ever more in your favor. So again, you guys, you're never going to be perfect. I have been in this game for years. I've made and lost so much money over the years, and I still have so much to work on. But again, that's the beauty of it. You have so much life ahead. Even if you're older, you still got some life ahead of you. Again, hop on some of these biotech trends, start taking some of those longevity supplements, NAD, resveratrol, whatnot. But again, you guys, just keep in mind, it sucks right now, but this game is the suckiness is only temporary, okay? So keep that in mind. In terms of trading, I'm primarily just practicing patience at this point. I accumulated a few stocks, which I'll get into below, but other than that, I'm spectating and waiting. So once again, you guys, I do still believe there is more long-term potential. Definitely long-term potential, but more like medium-term. I do think that once April comes around, that's when we'll definitely see things start to pick up again. I think the rest of March, just because we're at like that almost exactly the 1 year anniversary of the complete calamity, the Black Swan event that was the liquidity crisis of 2020. I think that's kind of catching up. It's a little cheesy, and honestly, I mean, it kind of sucks how everything's so cliche and everything's so predictable in the market. It's like almost overly predictable, which is irritating, but that's the way things are. That's how a lot of 2020 has been, honestly. But that's the reality of it. And again, you do your best to adapt to the current situation. So all that said, long intro. I'll be forgive me for that, but I felt like this was very necessary to say. And again, not only goes for the YouTube audience, or not only the newsletter family, but the YouTube audience as well. So again, you guys, I apologize. I'm doing my best to be better. I'm just a guy too. I'm doing my best. I'm actively working on being a better trader and a better investor and a better thinker overall, because that's what really matters. All right. So before we do dive into the charts, I will ask you, as always, to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today, or if you're losing just as much money as I am, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I want to catch more content like this. Again, the red days suck. They're for sure not as fun to talk about. As I always say, they're equally as important, but they're more important to talk about than the green days. Green days, way funner. It's a lot easier to record, to be honest. But the red days, you need to be there for your community. You need to be there for those around you who may be having a rough time. And you need to be there to learn with each other and be, again, it's all a learning experience. So be there for each other, help each other out, because a lot of people are probably having a pretty hard time right now. But again, as long as you come out of things with your head up, smile on your face, that's really what matters. And I mean, you'll be fine. You'll be all right. You guys will be all right. Okay. So, yeah, subscribe to the channel if you want to join the Waves fam. And of course, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter if you want one of these bad boys in your email inbox every day. Of course, we go on to throw on some charts and analyses and whatnot. And again, that's during market hours. Along with that newsletter, I do have a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio, call options, put options, stock positions, crypto positions that I do update every trading day, along with market hours. And that newsletter is me rationalizing my trades and my thoughts around the actions I've taken in my portfolio. And even if I don't take action, I still throw in a bunch of analyses of all the positions in my portfolio just to keep you guys up to date with my thoughts on those positions. So $15 a month, first link down in the description if you're interested in that. Really means a lot if you check it out. As always though, if not, no worries at all. I appreciate you watching this video. So let's dive into these charts finally. Bitcoin, again, falling off an absolute cliff right now. It sucks that we broke. I think a big reason that we broke below here. So you can see here on the short term, we were kind of like in a little uptrend. I'm just going to kind of like talk out what I'm seeing here with you guys. We did break out of this. That's when we really dumped off this short-term little bounce right here. And then I think we really sold off. I think investors really got scared when we broke this level right here, which was the bottom of what is kind of this descending triangle bull flag. But the optimistic case here, which I'll get to right now, before I thought, so I did think we were going to come down to these almost these exact levels right here and just set a higher low on the overall uptrend, which we are still doing. I still do believe we'll actually go to the daily after this and talk a little more macro. But we did break out of this kind of bull flaggy pattern. We're still kind of in somewhat of a bull flag pattern. So again, this parabolic move up, which is the flagpole, followed by a descending triangle. It looks a little worse right now. So I don't know, maybe you could view it as a bull flag if we go back up to test this line right here. Test the top side of resistance on the overall downtrend, which we actually haven't done yet. So I'd be surprised if we come up to like 56 over the coming days. Maybe if it takes a few days, I mean, we capitulate. Like people are scared. People are scared for sure right now. Maybe March 29th-ish, we'll come up to 56K or so, test the line of resistance on the current downtrend, come back down. But ultimately, I do think we'll resolve this, what is somewhat of a bull flag. But again, we're still in a downtrend for sure. That said, that is kind of my, honestly, that I know I just said I was an optimist, but that's kind of my more optimistic play. I do think if we break out of this, obviously, if we clear 57K, obviously if we clear 60K, then I think we're on our way to 80K, which is my ultimate price target over the coming month or so. Whoa! But until then, it's not looking too good. So let's actually talk. Actually, you know what? I can talk to you guys about the higher low here. So again, just a series of, this is like, Bitcoin is a series of higher highs and higher lows, and that's how it's been since the beginning, since December when we started this this big bull run. All right, so high, low, higher low, higher high. If we stop around here, and we can actually go all the way down to, technically, we can go all the way down to like 43K, and set a technical higher low on the overall uptrend, which actually would kind of make sense as well as I bring in the worst case scenario over here. That could make sense, to set a higher low and test this line of the overall line of support at the same time. Say that happens like mid-April, that could happen if we just keep going down, slug down, and then set a higher low, which again is going to be above 43K. Test this trend line at the same time. 45K would take us to like April 10th or something to test the overall line of support, which is a very important, like this is a very important line of support here that, again, a few weeks ago I was calling for a correction down to this level. It sucks that it sucks if we see that and I mistimed it, because again, even if the fundamentals were right, maybe the stimulus was priced in. Maybe investors are getting greedy and scared. But I didn't time it right, and I lose money, and I deserve that, okay? So I shouldn't say I deserve that. I'm sorry, guys. I don't feel like I deserve that. But again, I don't deserve to make money if I was wrong, okay? There we go. That's a little better said. Okay, but worst case scenario, again, is to test. I think it's very... I don't think it's likely. I think what's most likely is that we capitulate around like 49.50K, so just down another like 2,500 bucks or so. I think we come down here because there's a lot of area. This area right here, just this general 50K area. Obviously, 50K is a huge psychological even. So it wouldn't surprise me if we base out about around 50K, break below 50K. People get scared because they're like, oh, shoot, 50K is broken. Go down to 49K, immediately be eaten back up. Set that. Excuse me, stop speaking a lot. Set that higher low after we hit like 49.50K, bounce back up, and then continue the overall uptrend to the topside price target, which is now going to be this. This makes most sense. So let's just span this out to like the end of April. Maybe it takes another month to get all the way back up here, but I do think by the end of spring, we'll see another run up, and that would take us to about $80,000, okay? So around the end of April, a few weeks into April, I think 80K is definitely possible, and yeah, that's going to be my price target over the coming month or so, okay? So that said, we'll quickly go through the rest of these guys. I'll just give you guys my general thoughts because, again, especially with RIOT and Mara, the price action of Bitcoin is going to be significantly, weigh significantly on those. So Mara, actually, what I think is going to happen with Mara, that's very likely now that we have set. Unfortunately, when I sent out that newsletter, we were right on top of that. I still had a little bit of hope. But again, you guys, I'm an eternal optimist. It's very, very likely from a technical perspective that Mara does come down to test the overall line of support, which is now going to be around, if we hit it March 26th by the end of this week, that's going to be around $29. So significant correction. Again, you guys, though, that would still... some kind of set a higher high on the overall uptrend, like long term. It does. We did just break on this more short to medium term uptrend right here. Again, higher high, low, higher high. I was hoping for a higher low right here, but we just discounted that. So it's very likely, almost guaranteed to me, that will probably hit about $30. So yeah, price target for Mara if we continue to tank, which I think kind of is likely, unfortunately, is going to be $30. But again, you guys, this market's crazy. Anything could happen. Ultimately, my price target for Mara is going to be to test the top side of resistance here. Very strong trend line. Say we hit it by the end of April. Say things take a little more time. That's going to be an $88 marathon digital holdings. Okay. And again, things are scary right now. It sucks, but that's just the game. RIOT blockchain. So RIOT is a lot closer to this line of resistance. If RIOT breaks below that, that's going to get pretty sketchy. So downside price target for RIOT by the 26th is going to be about $43. So it's significantly less of a correction than Mara. But if RIOT breaks below that, that's going to be pretty sketchy, and that would lead me to believe that we're probably going to print a massive bull flag. So I'm not going to draw it out right now, but you guys can get like, it's going to look like something like that-ish. And then it flatten out around here. So parabolic move up, flat out around here. You establish that base, and then probably resolve itself somewhere around like mid-April, and then see that pop back up once again. So again, people are scared. I think it's going to take some time. There's no way we're going to go straight back up. I think maybe it'll take a few days. Maybe over the weekend some good news happens. I know, like, what was it, Fidelity? No, I think it was Goldman Sachs. Dang it, you guys, please correct me on that if I'm wrong. I think Goldman just said they wanted to launch a Bitcoin fund or something. Fidelity just announced a new Bitcoin ETF. So the fundamentals are still here. They're still very, very strong. And that's important to remember if people are thinking, like, there's a lot of people like, is 2021 going to be the same as 2017? Are we just going to see that crypto winter, that bubble completely pop? And it just doesn't make sense for that to happen because there's so much more infrastructure. There's so much more fundamentals, like in actual tangible things being built around Bitcoin and use cases being realized for Bitcoin to see that happen. It just wouldn't make... I mean, it obviously could happen. It just wouldn't make sense, and it sucks if that happens because then that means people just aren't educated enough yet. But again, I remain bullish on the medium term, the short term. Maybe the rest of this week is probably going to be pretty rough, just to be completely honest, so strap in for that. But I do still have my eyes on the prize. I do still think that the medium, definitely the long term, is going to be looking good. So ZKIN, let's get a splash of green in here real quick. ZKIN. International. So ZKIN is like the most volatile stock I've ever seen. Let's go to the hourly just to see how crazy this looked today. So ZK popped up on that great news, gapped up, set kind of a double top here, which is a little worrisome. Around 1450, gapped up, immediately corrected back down because of the rest of the cryptocurrency sector. Obviously, you guys, the entire cryptocurrency sector somewhat acts as a whole. And again, risk on assets is the primary way I'll describe all the stocks that just got absolutely smoked today. Is gonna be risk on assets. All right, so ZK came up, came back down. It broke this line of support, which is pretty significant. I mean, it's still on technically because we set one over there. It's currently on top of this line of support right here, which does make me pretty happy to see. That's the one thing that's convincing me that maybe we do go up. Ultimately, though, I still think it's likely that ZKIN does actually test this line of resistance. This one makes more sense. This is what all the investors are going to be looking at, traders at least. If we hit it by the end of the month, if ZK does somehow like diverge from the sector, which is pretty unlikely at this point, I think ZKIN will probably see more downside, unfortunately. Probably downside, probably test the line of support on this uptrend. If that happens by the end of the week, that would take us down to about $9.40-ish. So $9.50 just to be conservative. Definitely comfortable buying XNET ZKIN at $9.50. XNET's up next. But topside, say maybe we hit this like mid-April or something. Once again, mid-April, I'll just make the price targets over there. That could take us to a $23 ZKIN. So again, come down, go sideways a little bit, capitulate, get everyone comfortable with reaccumulating again, and then see that big move up. Because again, money still wants to be put to work. Money's still floating out there. Moving on, XNET, and then we'll close it out with the two OTCs. So XNET is dangerously close, way too close. Look how, what is so sad. Look at all these weak hands in here. These paper hands. So ZKIN absolutely falling off a cliff today, but it's so close. It's so close to setting a lower low. And if ZK is down 1%, we're going to see that lower low set, and that's going to make me super bummed. Okay. But again, we are still technically, glass is half full. We are still technically setting a higher low on this uptrend. So high, low, high, low. I would call this like high, low, high, higher low technically. But again, if tomorrow's red, then it's going to be a lower low, and that's going to be not good. So if that happens, then it's really tough to say what will happen with ZK. So ZK is in a downtrend right now. I think we could definitely see a bounce to test this line of resistance right here. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do see it. Maybe we see a bounce tomorrow, come up, test this previous line of support that once that was broke. That's like once this line of support was broken right here, that's when you saw it just completely fall off a cliff and just stair step down into hell. But I do think it's very likely we come up here maybe by the end of the week. If we see a crazy bounce, that would come to a nice intersection, test the line of resistance on the downtrend, and also test the previous line of support as new resistance, okay? So that would take us back up to like $8.50. That would be insane to see. But again, I'll remain bullish. XNET is a pretty wild mover, so I'm not going to be surprised by anything at this point. If we break down, it's honestly hard to tell where we go if we do break down, just because there's not really a floor here. Maybe we come back down to $5. I just doubt that'll happen, but it could. So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's hope we don't have to. But again, you guys, I'll keep you posted on this. Cover the red days, cover the green days. I'm here for you guys, and yeah, that's my job. So moving on, let's close it out with the two spacers. CWRK is looking, again, this is a pretty classic tale right here of higher highs, higher lows. High, low, higher high, hopefully higher low. I mean, you could count this a low, but I'm not really doing that. On the overall uptrend, high, low, higher high, higher low technically. Unless we break below like $2.15, then that would be a higher low. And then from there, unfortunately, it's very likely that CWRK comes to test the overall line of support over here, I think. So CWRK has ran up a lot. I would say this line will come into play if we break below that. And that would say we test this. I mean, say this happens, but say we could go really far, really fast, either direction, as we've seen happen in CWRK. Shoot, maybe we see a head and shoulders play out right now. So maybe we see a bounce in CWRK. Left shoulder head. Maybe we see a bounce here. And if I were trying to trade it, if we saw a bounce, I might try to take some profits there, because if this crypto correction does continue, I think this could come down really quick to test this overall line of resistance on this greater uptrend. So again, look just like RIOT. This is playing out a lot like RIOT, and I still do believe in CWRK for the long term. But from an objective, as being as objective as I can, I do think similar to Bitcoin, like the overall line of support on the uptrends have to be tested at some point. So maybe it's now, maybe it's after we see another rally up to again 80K in Bitcoin, and then come down and test the overall support. But for all of these, I think overall support needs to be tested. For RIOT and Mara, it's kind of nice because it's a little closer than many of these other plays. But Again, just be safe out there, guys. Just kind of spitting my thoughts as they come to me. Close it out with the Mars mission that is alternate systems, or ALYI. So ALYI actually, as a chart, still looks the most appealing to me from just a technical perspective. So ALYI, you guys know I'm an absolute goon for ALYI. I did make that video yesterday. Again, I hope you guys liked that. I appreciate all of you guys who took part in that video. It was a really fun video to make, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I felt really proud after I recorded it. Unfortunately, it did take some blunt today because it is an EV stock. It is a crypto stock. It's like a crypto EV marriage. And both of those sectors got smoked. So, of course, poor ALYI, especially as a high-risk speculative asset, which I want to make very clear, it's a speculative asset, we saw it go down like 10% today. It kicked off the day pretty strong. Actually was green at one point today, but did ultimately close the day in the red, pretty significantly in the red. And people are getting scared, rightfully so. I don't get mad for people getting scared. It sucks. Obviously, considering I'm so heavily invested, it sucks. But I understand why people are scared, okay? So, and for full transparency, I did buy a little more ALYI today, 4.5 milli at the time of recording, okay? So, ALYI, as you guys can see here, is it's making me feel a little better because we are technically, again, high, low, higher high, higher low. You could say that once we broke here, that's actually when it got really bad. We set a higher low on the short-term uptrend. But we're still above this level, which makes me feel confident. We're seeing a lot of resistance, and we didn't quite come down to kind of match this low from this initial high. So you could say that this is the first wave, this is kind of the second wave, and maybe we're setting a higher low for the third wave up. Hopefully that happens. Again, I'm not promising anything, you guys, because investors are just scared. Obviously, the risk on assets, the speculative assets, the one that scare people, even when the markets are doing well, the ones that people are like, oh, that seems like a pretty speculative play. Again, although I'm holding these with Titan, I'm in accumulation mode. I understand why people are scared. And that said, it might take some time. Maybe we capitulate, go sideways a little bit, climb slowly. I think it's very unlikely we fall back down just because ALYI has been making so much progress lately, and the market cap is at $8 million. Like, I don't know how a company can be this small, to be completely honest. Like, a publicly traded company, I don't know how it can physically be this small. But I don't think it's like, I think ALYI, even with the story and the mission and the vision and the progress they're making, is worth at least, like literally at least $100 million, which would take us to a $1 ALYI. So I think it's worth at least 100 mil. And it just doesn't make sense to me for the market cap to be any lower than it is now. Especially with, again, they got the motorcycle going. They're making progress. Hopefully they make that freaking website, and hopefully they do many of the things that we recommended they do in that video I posted yesterday. But that said, I remain an optimist for ALYI. Maybe this takes some time. Hopefully next week we see a pop, go sideways a little bit. Hopefully the market cools down for the remainder of the week, and then maybe we kick off next week super strong, continue the short-term uptrend, test the resistance on the short-term uptrend. That would take us to just under 15 cents if we test it, say, on April 7th. Okay, so those are my price targets. As you guys know, I think we're heading to $1. I think cents are going to be a thing of the past sooner than later. Maybe it takes the summer. I don't know, but again, you guys, this project just has so much freaking potential and promise in my eyes that I'm comfortable. It sucks because I'm losing so much money on paper, but I see it as a buying opportunity, and I will continue to accumulate every red day we see, okay? Because I have conviction around this company. So that was a long one, but we will call it there, you guys. If you're still watching, you're a real one. I really do appreciate you. Throw 100 emoji down below if you've watched all the way to the end, and I really appreciate you. So let me know in the comments down below if you're hurting. Again, you can always find help in the Waves fam. If hop in the Discord, like there's so many things you can do. Just talk to people in the comments. There's so many nice people out there. So everyone be nice to each other, and yeah, I'll catch you downstairs. That's the main thing. Just be nice to each other, and ask for some comfort and help if you need it. So I'll catch you guys downstairs in the comments. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.